Hello, and thank you for joining me in our first presentation slash lecture. I'm really excited. I love to talk about marketing. It's a subject of all the business disciplines that I seriously enjoy the most. Part of the reason why I love marketing so much is because I feel like it's the one area of business where you can be really, really creative. Can't really be creative in accounting, or you'll go to jail. You can't really be creative in finance either. But marketing allows business professionals to think outside of the box, and to think creatively, which is something that I certainly enjoy about it. So let's get started by talking about what marketing actually entails. It's important to lay a foundation, and if you're reading in your textbook, there's a really academic description of what marketing entails. But I kind of want to give you not an academic description. I'd rather give you a layman's term description because I know for me as a student, I learn so much more clearly when things are explained in as simple terms as possible. So, what is marketing actually? Well, if I ask this question in a face to face class, many students equate marketing with advertising, right? So, they're thinking commercials, print advertisements, newspaper ads, radio commercials. And to some degree, if that's what you're thinking, you're not entirely wrong. The advertising portion of marketing is known as promotion. That's one of the 4 P's that we'll talk about. But believe it or not, that's not all that marketers do. Marketers do a whole host of other activities related to what we'll call the 4 P's. And those 4 P's include the product, the price, the place, and the promotion. So that promotion component is what most people think marketing is. But we'll talk about those other 3 P's and give you a broader picture. And as the semester continues, we'll be examining each of the 4 P's of marketing. And this is also known as the marketing mix. So, okay, other key concepts we have to cover in our first module together is we have to talk about something called value, okay, value. And what does value mean to consumers? The other thing we're going to talk about is the marketing concept. And it's going to surprise you. A lot of students and a lot of individuals think that companies make products first and then find people to sell it to. And the marketing concept actually teaches us that it actually happens in the reverse order, that it's actually companies find needs that aren't met yet and then decide to make products to meet those needs. So it's a little bit flipped on its head, but we'll talk about that more as we get to the slide on the marketing concept. So let's start by talking a little bit about what marketers do. Okay. So if you've ever worked for a corporation or you know about corporations, you probably have heard of before that corporations have one fundamental goal, okay? Their one fundamental goal is to earn a profit, okay? And what does a profit mean? What does it mean to earn a profit? If you've taken Intro to Business, which I'm sure you had because it's a prereq for the course, earning a profit simply means that at the end of the day, companies have to have money left over in their pocket, okay? So that means they need to bring in more money in terms of sales, right? In terms of the money that they make from selling goods and services. And that needs to be bigger or greater than what they spend in expenses, right? So think of expenses as like salaries. If you've taken accounting, this will be familiar to you. Expenses are things like salaries, utilities, rent. Anything that takes money out of a company's pocket is going to be related to expenses. Anything that brings money into the company, like selling products, goods and services, that's known as sales. And at the end of the day, if your sales are bigger than your expenses, then you're earning a profit, right? And you could totally apply this to your personal life. If at the end of the month, your paycheck, the money you bring in, is greater than your phone bill and your utility bill and your mortgage or your rent payment, then you're making money every month. And that can go towards savings or investing or some other thing. And the corporations are not much different. So basically, corporations have to earn a profit, and they do that by producing goods and services. And so when we as consumers visit a store, we're purchasing for the most part goods. And a good is something that's like tangible. So think of all the things. Just look at the room you're in right now. Look around. Anything that you can touch that you've bought or purchased is a good, okay? So goods are tangible. You can touch them. A bottle of Coca-Cola, your cell phone, your television set, your bedroom furniture. A service, on the other hand, is something that's intangible. And I like to define a service as I can't do it or don't feel like doing it, so I'm going to pay somebody else to do it. And so examples of services would be going and getting a haircut, or hiring an accountant to help you do your taxes, having your lawn mowed. So services, again, are things you can't touch, but are nonetheless considered a product. Okay, so how does this relate to marketing? Well, marketers have to think about the products that their corporations are selling, and they need to figure out a way to craft this product, this good or service, in such a way that it's really attractive to consumers, right? That's their goal. They're trying to get consumers to pick them over the competition. So what makes marketing so interesting is that you get to be creative in thinking about, hey, what can we do to our product? What features and benefits can we add to our service so that consumers look at it and they say, that's the one I want. And that really leads us to talking about value. Okay. And I'm going to use, in discussing value, I'm going to use a personal example. And I apologize because you're having a hard time seeing this. So I'm going to shift this around. Okay, what is value? Okay, you see the definition there, and you're just going to have to bear with me because this slide is a little large for my screen capture. Value equals what consumers get, can you read that? For what they give up. Okay, I'm going to say that to you one more time. Value is what consumers get for what they give up. All right, so go with me on this. Okay, I'm going to talk about the gap for 1 second to demonstrate value. I went into the Gap. I really like the Gap. I went into the Gap last Christmas, and it was the day after Christmas, which is a very popular but insane time to shop. And when I went into the Gap, I went to the very back because that's where I go because everything is on sale. And I purchased 6 clothing items. So I think I got 3 tops, I got 2 pairs of pants, and I got a belt. And when I went to the register to check out, at the end of tallying up all of the prices, my total cost for those 6 items was under $100. Now, if you've ever shopped at the Gap, they are kind of expensive. That's why I always go to the back on sale clearance rack. And when I was handed my bag and I'm walking away, I had this elated feeling in my heart. Like I was so happy that I got this great deal. And do you know what I mean? I mean, have you ever had the experience where you went shopping and you purchased something and you left that exchange, right? The purchasing and selling, you left that feeling absolutely positively elated. If you've had that experience before, then you have actually, as a consumer, experienced value. This secretly drives every purchase that we make. When we feel that the benefits, okay, these guys over here, when we feel that the benefits that we get from a product outweigh the costs, okay, and think of costs as anything you give up. What do you give up to buy something? You give up time, right? Because you need to either be online to purchase it or drive somewhere. You also give up money, right? Because nothing is free for the most part. So in order to get my 6 items of clothing at the Gap, I needed to use my debit card or my credit card. So think of value as when those benefits are greater than the costs associated with the product, value exists, okay? So let me show you how this works in terms of an example of a car, okay? All right, so I love this example. Okay, and I don't know really all that much about cars, so you'll have to bear with me, but I was trying to think of 2 examples of vehicles, okay? And to sort of paint the picture of how value works. And get this, value is not the same for all people, okay? So go with me. I like the Gap. Those 6 tops absolutely resulted in experience of value for me. But I could easily place somebody else in that experience, and they might say, $100 for 6 items of clothing? You're crazy, lady. That's not value. That's still way too expensive. Consequently, I could take somebody else and put them in that position, and they might purchase those 6 items of clothing for $100 and say, oh my God, how inexpensive, how cheap. You're only willing to spend $100? So my point is that value really lies in the eyes of the beholder, much like beauty. So let's take a look at these 2 vehicles. I have no idea what the car is on the left. I would love to pretend like I know. I know it's a BMW, but I think it's their most expensive line of vehicle. And that car is $150,000. And then on the other side, we have an Audi. And an Audi is definitely not $24,000. It's that Audi, that model, I think it probably is an A8 or an A6. It's probably going to run you in the 40s, depending on which model it is. But you get my drift. You have cars that are of different prices. And this really illustrates why value is in the eye of the beholder. So if I asked you, if we were sitting in a classroom together and I asked you, how many of you would purchase the vehicle on the left and feel really good about that purchase? Okay. So most students don't raise their hand. I mean, yes, you would love to have that car, right? But when you look at that vehicle and the price tag, for me personally, I would need to get 6 other jobs to be able to drive a vehicle, maybe 7, really. 7 other jobs to be able to drive a vehicle like that. So when I see that, that's not value to me, right? I drive a hybrid. I drive a Honda Insight. And to me, that's value because the price tag was perfect. And I feel like I get so much more in terms of savings and gas mileage. And it's really an ugly car. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. I didn't buy it for beauty. But for me, the car I drive, I feel like because the price was so inexpensive, I feel like the benefits I get from it are far greater than what I paid for it. So value exists there. And that kind of matches our Audi on the right. I mean, if you bought an Audi, and let's say it was between $24,000 and $34,000, and that was affordable to you, you might say, "Hey, those are great benefits. I'm getting an Audi for $24,000 to $34,000." Because the benefits outweigh the costs, value exists. So when you're a marketer, you really think about something called your target market. Have you ever heard of a target market before? Think of the target market as the group of customers, right, who you are aiming all your marketing activities towards. These are the group of people that when you design a product, when you decide what its price is going to be, you have those group of customers in mind. So in the case of the $150,000 vehicle, I'm saying that they are going to aim, BMW with that model is aiming at a very limited number of consumers, a very small segment that's probably, has a net worth, in the tens of millions of dollars, who, lives in the wealthiest of zip codes, right? They're not targeting, everyday middle class people with a vehicle like that. So your target market as a marketer helps you determine the value that you're going to try to create for your target market and your consumers. Okay, so let's move on and let's talk a little bit about something called the marketing concept. Okay, let me see where my slide is here. Just bear with me. I'm using for the first time something called screencast. So technology is lovely. So let's think about value in terms of a restaurant. So think about the best restaurant or your most favorite restaurant to go to. Okay, if you think about your favorite restaurant to go to, why do you go there? What is it about that restaurant that attracts you? Is it the quality of food? Or is it the quality of food at the right price? How about where it's located? Does its location have anything to do with attracting you? And then lastly, how about how it's promoted? So by promoted, what message do you receive about that restaurant that may have some impact on you going there or not going there? And if you didn't know, that was the 4 Ps that I had just referred to. When you go to that restaurant, you're most likely choosing it because you're getting more in terms of features and benefits from the product, or the experience, I should say, than what you're giving up in terms of price. So that brings us to talking about specifically this idea of a marketing concept. Okay, this is not an old concept. In fact, this has been around, I'd say probably for the last 40 years, people have been talking about the marketing concept. And I'll just give you a second to take a look at that slide. Here's what the marketing concept entails. Okay, it entails companies looking out into the vast sea of customers. And when they look out into that vast sea of customers, they're looking for opportunities, okay? Opportunities to create products that meet an unmet need, okay? That meet an unmet need. As I said in the beginning, a lot of people think that marketers wake up or corporations wake up and they have this great idea for a product and they make it and then they hope people buy it. And it actually does not work that way, okay? Large corporations with lots of money, they're not going to spend resources just coming up with a product and then hoping people buy it, especially in today's data-driven business environment. What they do first is they develop research studies where they examine and they observe customers to find out what they need that they're not getting. And that's the basis of their product development. So think of the marketing concept as identifying a need first, and then developing goods and services, which are products, to satisfy that unmet need. And the way they do that is by designing what they consider their marketing mix. Let's go on to the next slide here because I want to give you an idea of what the marketing mix is so you can see what the 4 Ps are. Okay, so this takes us to the 4 Ps. Okay, what are the 4 Ps? These are the 4 Ps right here. Okay, the 4 Ps are product, price, promotion, and place. Okay, the 4 Ps. And I mentioned the target market and the concept of delivering value. Marketers must make decisions related to the product, right? Its features and benefits. What's this product going to entail? What's its packaging going to look like? They make decisions about the price itself. How high should we charge? How low should we charge? They also make decisions about promotion. What's the message that we want to create around this product to attract people, right? So if you think of companies such as fast food, McDonald's, which is fast food, has a very different message than Chipotle does. Has anybody ever been to Chipotle? They make burritos. Oh, it's fantastic. Okay. So Chipotle, their product is they sell fresh ingredients that are primarily organic, and they wrap them up in a burrito, and it's delicious. Okay, they're not as concerned with price. In fact, a burrito there might be close to $10. Their concern is not necessarily with price. They believe that because their ingredients are fresh and the product is high quality, that people are going to be willing and able and happy to spend $10 on a burrito. And their message is like, we have high quality food, so of course you're going to spend a little bit more. That's not McDonald's message. Now, both are considered fast food, right? Both are considered fast food. McDonald's, on the other hand, has the message of we want to give you as much food as possible at the lowest price, right? So you think of their dollar menu. You can get French fries and a Big Mac and a large Diet Coke and all of those items for $1 each. So think of promotion as not just advertising, right? Not just picking a television commercial or a radio commercial, but think about promotion as also crafting a message, communicating a message that consumers, that your target market is going to find really attractive. And then the last P relates to place, okay? And place has everything to do with location, okay? So where can consumers acquire your product, okay? Is it in the case of fast food restaurants? My goodness, location is everything, right? I love Chipotle, but I'm not going to drive 30 to 40 miles to get to a Chipotle. That's just not convenient. So that location aspect of a product is really, really important. Place also has to do with the strategies behind getting the product to that location. So if you've ever heard of logistics before, you're a marketer. You're making decisions such as what's the mode of transportation to get that product to the place. You're also looking at decisions regarding, are we going to use distributors? Are we going to use wholesalers? Are we going to go directly to consumers? So again, as I said in the very beginning of this lecture, most people equate marketing with advertising, which is promotion. And it's really, hopefully you can see that it's so much more broad than that. Marketers make decisions about product and price and place and promotion. And they make every one of these decisions with one group of people in mind, and that's their target market. And their goal is to create value for their target market, to get their target market to believe that their product is superior to everybody else in the marketplace, that their product has the greatest value, that it can deliver the most in terms of features and benefits for what consumers in that target market are giving up. So that concludes our first lecture. We went a little longer than I thought. I thought that it would only take me 5 minutes to get through this, but I'm a talker. So if you want to listen to this again, you're more than welcome to. And if not, just continue working through the items within the module. Thanks sincerely, and I'll talk to you soon.